Hi, today I'm making a video at the request of one of my subscribers um, with type 2 diabetes. He's looking to make a life change and has already started. And his question concerned juicing and any more details I can give based on some of the videos I've done. Now, as far as type 2 diabetes go, if you're on insulin shots, I recommend that you guys go see your doctor, your healthcare provider, and explain to them exactly what you're trying to do. You're trying to get off insulin, reduce your weight, and so forth, and the methods that you're trying to use. Um, in my personal experience, my mother had type 2 diabetes, and she applied a high protein, high fat diet and reduced the amount of carbohydrates, which is how I guided her to do. And but at the time, I didn't really tell her about going to the doctor and all that stuff. But she did that and she exercised at the same time, and she no longer has type 2 diabetes, and she doesn't have to take the insulin shots. She still watches her carbohydrate intakes and sugars and things like that, but she still lead a very healthy lifestyle. As far as in general, it's always best, especially if you're on insulin, to double check with your healthcare provider. Do some research online. What I'm going to talk about is mainly guidelines. This stuff, what I do in my life. I didn't have type 2 diabetes, but I was on my way to getting that because both my parents had type 2 diabetes. I think the reason I didn't get type 2 diabetes is because I drank a lot of vegetable juice, even though I ate a lot of candy and things like that. Ate a lot of complex carbohydrates that I thought was good for me, such as brown rice, whole grain, and wheat, whole grain, multigrain, wheat bread, and things like that. And it turned out that I was just basically feeding myself more sugar in a different form, because all carbohydrates, except for the fibrous carbohydrate, they all turn into sugar. As far as juicing goes and blending, I juiced for a long time, several years, about 5 years or something like that. And I use the Omega 8006 to juice my vegetables, and then I run it through the Omega 350 Vert for just to get rid of some of the extra pulp that may, because it worked as really good as a colander. And then I stored the vegetable juice in the freezer, and if I need, I thaw it out. I make my batch, and then I run it through the Omega Vert, and add my fruits along with that and juice the fruits. The reason I did that, the cheap blender at the time couldn't obliterate the seeds, the little seeds in the strawberries and the blackberries. So, and the texture, I don't like chewing my juice, so um, I end up juicing it like that. Um, then I bought a Waring blender, and that broke within a year, so I just kept juicing, but I was losing a lot of fiber. So from the fruit fiber. Now, when it comes to diabetes, fruits, based on bodybuilding, people who bodybuild, the fruits and whole fruits are not really considered sugar intake, because the fiber in fruit tend to slow down the absorption rate of the sugar, so it's more evenly distributed or used. So it doesn't really spike insulin and things like that, which helps them lose weight, body fat, and also keep glycogen stores. Now, when it comes to diet, I learned a lot from watching bodybuilders, the ones that compete. And when it comes close to the competition, bodybuilders cut carbohydrates from their diet. Not all of it, but they reduce it tremendously, and stick basically high protein and the fat that they use, and increase their cardio. So that's saying a lot. Now, they didn't cut fat from their diet when they're cutting body fat to lean out. they cut carbohydrates. And I took that information and applied it to myself. And of course, if you look at some of my other videos one of them with fat-free, losing fat lifestyle, I talk about the epiphany of the nuts and fruits, how none of most of the fruits and the nuts that I use don't have a whole lot of carbohydrates in them. It's mainly fats. So I learned from that too, and I applied it to my life and cut all the carbohydrates from my diet, except the ones that I really can't cut, like the stuff that's in the nuts that I eat, or the fruits that I eat, or the vegetables that I eat. If it's in there, it's part of the fruit and part of the food, then I eat it. I don't shy away from it. I just won't be adding brown rice and breads and all that stuff to my diet. And I've lost a lot of weight because of it. But I've only really been on a diet like that about a year, and I've lost like 30 pounds like that. But I'm also exercising, and I coach boxing and things like that. So I'm fairly active. So if you have the type 2 diabetes and you're juicing, or you want to juice or blend, I would recommend doing both if you already have the equipment. If not, invest in both. Look for a good juicer, because some of the cheap centrifugal ones, they produce a lot of waste. I am actually going back to juicing my vegetables, because I buy in bulk. So I buy cases of the stuffs, and they don't last long in the fridge, so I have to juice them and store them. And then I freeze the fruits that can be frozen, and the ones that last longer, well, then I keep those in the fridge and I use them appropriately. If you buy a very little bit, like small portions at a time on a daily basis, or every 2 days or something like that, I think the Vitamix blender would work just fine. The 780 I use, I could do this stuff in a couple of minutes, whereas juicing and then reducing again took 35 minutes or so, roughly. And that's from years of doing it that never really went below that. So hopefully this information helped. Like the video if you like it, subscribe. And if you have any more like detailed questions rather than some general like this, where the general diabetes thing, post it in the comments below, and I will do my best to respond, do a little research if I don't know, and give you information from my perspective. Y'all have a good day.